Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sorting Hat Podcast, the show where everything and anything can and will be sorted. I, as always, am your host, Michael Barryte, joined by my co-host, Brice.
I'm just way too excited about this episode, so I don't have a bit. Let's go.
All right, so we're joined once again by Jessy Gould, who is a environmental and zoological educator, also Ravenclaw. I'm a Ravenclaw. Reads a Hufflepuff. That's how our sorting bias goes. The basic.
Oh, I had to make you think that this was like a fire thing. I was just like, this is one of my favorite topics we've had.
Oh, okay.
You can breathe.
Well, the basic conceit of our show is that we have an expert, in this case, Jessy. Welcome again.
I do have to say, though, I am a Gryffindor.
Oh, you're a Gryffindor.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
How did...
We, on a previous episode, Reed mischaracterized.
Oh, I didn't even catch that last episode.
Yeah. Because you just know so much.
I mean, I guess, like, I'm a Gryffindor. Like, I'm real, like...
we don't take none of those fusions. That's nonsense.
Michael's very much...
here I am.
It's mainly for the purists.
Michael cares way too much about segregation, but in my opinion...
Don't do this to me. Jesus.
Oh, wow. Way to throw him under the bus.
I'm trying to stand up for the people who are going to be like, no, there are very specific houses and they have to be honored. And
sounds close-minded to me.
You immediately throw
non-binary.
me under like this weird bus of... Oh,
I don't believe in gender. I don't believe in borders. I don't believe in houses.
And yet, here you are on a podcast that is holistically... Anyway, we're dealing with pinnipeds. Wow,
I'm so excited because I didn't even know I was going to be excited until 5 seconds before we started this podcast, because all week I was like, pinniped. Huh, okay, that probably sounds like some sort of like, okay, she does like marine stuff, and maybe like some sort of like algae? But no, tell us what we're sorting today.
All right, so pinnipeds are they're basically the walruses, sea lions, and seals.
The puppies of the ocean!
Yeah, sea doggos. So they are the big group of carnivorous marine mammals. Their closest relatives are bears and raccoons, skunks, things like that.
Isn't that wild?
Yes, that is wild.
And you can kind of see it because I was looking up pictures. You can kind of see like the traces of their shared ancestry when they're like barking at somebody, because their mouth opens up the same huge way that a bear does. It's kind of like, looking.
Man. Sea lion teeth are... I would not want to be in that mouth.
I love this whole family of animals so much, because like they're just like cute things that just float around and like, but also can be like super like dangerous, and you're like, whoa, it's they're surprising, they're dynamic and intriguing.
So pinnipeds, what are we going to be sorting? Because we didn't actually discuss this before the pod.
So I would like to talk about walruses, the California sea lion,
Great,
the harbor seal, and
Great.
the elephant seal.
All right, that all sounds good. I didn't write those down nearly as fast as you were speaking them,
I'm so sorry, but
we are just going to dive right into the first one, which is walruses.
Yes, walruses. Well, actually, before we get there, I do want to explain
which one of us is.
So pinniped. The word pinniped actually is Latin for featherfoot, and so they're called featherfoot because of their the way their flippers look.
I see.
Tiny little flippy things.
So pinnipeds do break down into basically three groups. There's walruses, eared seals, and true seals. So we'll kind of get more into that as we go along. But the walrus, these guys are going to be found up in the Arctic. They are, I'm sure everyone knows what a walrus is, so they're massive, but they're actually not the largest of the pinnipeds.
Ooh.
Yeah,
that's going to be the elephant seal at the very end?
Yes.
Heck, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to save that one for the end. So the walrus is actually the third largest pinniped. So like I said, they are found up in the polar regions. You're going to find them in kind of the cooler waters, but also in the nutrient-rich waters that are up in those areas. I mentioned that they are large. The average male can weigh over 2,000 pounds.
Whoa,
so a
boy
ton.
season.
Yeah. On record, I believe the largest one was over 4,000 pounds.
That's
Oh.
crazy.
So these guys get pretty...
It's a big boy.
Yeah, a big boy. The females too, they get to be about 18,000 pounds. So they are going to be a little bit smaller. Both the males and the females in this species are going to have the tusks, though. So the tusks are actually just really giant, long canine teeth. So they will be a little bit more prominent, and the males are going to be a little bit longer, a little bit bigger.
They're actually super vampires.
ocean vampires. But the problem is that their fangs are so long. You can't really use them for
Aw, crud. It's like when you get one of those manicures and then you can't type. You're just like, oh, crud.
I'm so impressed with anybody who can pull that off. I see, like...
Apparently it's just like a learning curve. That's what I've heard.
I'm sure, but it's so weird to me because at least on like old phones, that was a situation where like it required a tactile input, so like you could be a little more clever. But in the
Not sure what you're talking about, old man. I'm 13.
in the case of new smartphones, those require like an actual touch, which means that you need to then be like arching your fingers
Yeah.
in order to like not have the nail. So the tip can touch, because like you can't just tap with the nail because that won't connect the circuit, at least as far as I know, because it's like acrylic. I don't know nails.
Are they able to use these tusks for like teeth for anything? Like, do they use them in defense? Or
yeah, so they are used for they're going to be used for display, for dominance. The males will fight for mates with each other, and they can also use it for forming ice holes up in the Arctic. So one of the side effects of living in those regions is that you do usually have to have some sort of adaptation to help break up ice, especially if you're a air breathing animal.
Yeah.
It's like a creme brulee spoon for them.
Tap tap. So yeah, they can help form holes in the ice, but they can also help haul their giant bodies out of the water with those tusks too.
Oh, they literally dig into the ground,
like a grappling hook.
Yeah.
And then lift the. That is a crazy notion. Imagine, if you will, getting up to a ledge and digging your jaw into the ledge and then lifting yourself up with the very power of your own mouth.
And you weigh about 3 times as much as you probably usually would. That's wild.
Well, more than 3 times.
I was also reading that walruses within like the larger sphere of the pinnipeds, their specific family, they're the only living version of their specific type of pinniped, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to read it, and it looked like a Bible name that I can't say. Odobendae? Odobendae.
You mean a song that plays at a French toilet?
Hate you so much.
Look, you mispronounced it in a perfect tee up for eau de bidet. So,
but apparently, there were like a lot more back in like the times that we had a lot more animals.
Yeah. So pinnipeds as a whole, currently, I believe there's a little over 30 currently like living, and there's over 50 species that are now extinct of the pinnipeds.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, and there were like 10 other ones that were like the walrus, but now the walrus is the only one in this specific family that's left.
Oh.
It's okay. It happens. Circle of life, baby.
No, it's probably because of overhunting.
Well, the not for the walrus. So these, I'm pretty sure the ones that are extinct are like we had nothing.
I'm
like
so sorry to tell you. Michael thinks that humans have been alive since the beginning of time. Don't tell
Why
him.
are you like throwing so many weird things about me into this?
I wanted to start like weird rumors about you on the podcast that you can definitely hear me saying them.
Please stop.
He's a creationist. He thinks the world's 6,000 years old. I don't know what. He's the only creationist Jew. I don't know what.
Keep going.
He's so
Keep
mad.
going. Keep going.
This whole podcast just like implodes right here.
I'm gonna edit the heck out of you, Reed. You're gonna. God damn it.
Are you gonna just say it so like he's a Jew? Like just like cut it out where so I just sound anti-Semitic? Especially because I'm speaking in the hushed tones of an anti-Semite. I love you. You know you're smarter than me and more clever than me. You don't gotta worry.
That doesn't necessarily mean I don't have feelings when you speak slanderous tales of my beliefs and potential wrongdoings.
Well, then I will stop and I will allow you to continue teaching us more about the walrus.
Thanks. Keep talking, Jesse.
All right. Walruses. So I don't remember where I left off.
I was sad about the lack of walruses.
Yeah. So the walruses now. I actually don't remember what their IUNC status is. So I'll have to look that up later.
But are they in general doing okay, or do we like?
Yeah, that's what I don't remember what they're.
Oh, okay, so
because most of the ones that I'm going to talk about today are of least concern, so they're doing well. I just don't remember.
I can look it up for you.
Okay.
Give us some more facts while I look that up for you.
All right, sounds good. So a cool thing about the walrus is, so I mentioned the different groups under the pinniped overarching group.
Yes.
So we got the walrus, we have the eared seals, and we have the earless seals or the true seals. So the walrus is interesting because it can rotate its hind legs or flippers forward, like the sea lion, which is an eared seal. So it can kind of do that similar to them. But it swims like a true seal. So it's kind of got these interesting characteristics.
And how does a true seal swim?
Kind of using their body to kind of push themselves through, whereas an eared seal is going to use their forward flippers to kind of.
I see.
I'm demonstrating with my body right now, and
so one does a paddle maneuver, and the other does like a wiggly woggly.
A wiggly woggly. Let's use that. That.
It's like when you're kind of doing like a hug gesture, and you're like throwing your arms out, like sort of like that sort of thing. It's like the way that we swim when we're doing
breaststroke.
Breaststroke, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Cool.
Breaststroke or wiggly woggly.
I like wiggly woggly.
Which is really more close to butterfly stroke, I guess.
Can you imagine if like Olympic game events had like names like that? So instead of like the breaststroke, we're watching like the wiggly woggly event.
I would love to hear then what they call all the gymnastic events, because those are like
many boops.
Yeah, just like many hoops, double bars. Also, like I was just thinking about this recently. Whatever happened, or not? It sounds like a whatever happened to, but like I'm just thinking, so many different Olympians are like 16 when they retire, as like they got a gold medal. That's like I don't know why. Only in adult life I'm realizing how absolutely insane that is.
Yeah, it's crazy. There are industries that very much are like you have a small window for it, like gymnastics, ballet,
right? Like
or most dance,
like Michaela Maroney, who did that like freaking exceptional vault in like 2012. She retired, I think, at like 16.
That's amazing.
And so like I don't know what she's doing now.
Imagine like putting that on a resume.
Right. Like you apply to college and then you graduate and then like you could be working in like a tech field.
Yeah.
I imagine they probably are just like helping make more Olympians and stuff.
I suppose that's probably true. But like you have to imagine
But no, in Michael's head is like, how do you bring this up at your McDonald's interview?
I don't think any of them are applying to McDonald's. I think they're all like applying to like a top tier.
They could get a job at McDonald's very easily because the Olympics and McDonald's,
right?
They're a sponsor for some reason. None of them eat McDonald's.
Yeah, but like how, like some of them, like especially the gymnasts and like, but like the swimmers are like older. Like Michael Phelps is what, 30s?
I don't know. Maybe they're just certain sports that you can keep doing longer than other ones.
Yeah, that don't have like you're made of elastic. You're not made out of elastic anymore.
your body is aging as it should be. Yeah. There are about 200,000 walruses, and I still don't know if that makes them endangered or not. But there's 200,000 of them.
200,000 seems like a substantial amount of anything. Like if you saw 200,000 chickens in front of you, you'd be like, damn, that's a lot of chickens.
Be a lot of
chickens. I think it might be a borderline thing because I just saw an article that says they may be listed under the Endangered Species Act.
Oh, so, okay. I guess my metrics are completely off. 200,000 is a low number in this case.
I don't know, but like in general, I'm sure you would agree that because of the not terribly thoughtful ways that we treat our oceans, like most marine animals are probably not like the flourishing as well as they could.
They recently found that a plastic bag had gotten down to the Mariana Trench, and that like ruins me.
Yeah, it's very, very
because that's
sad.
like the equivalent of like a rainforest, but like in the ocean, right?
It's the one of the deepest spots in the ocean, so like for a bag to get down there is very, very problematic because that's a whole ecosystem that has been like completely fine, it all be the crap that we've dumped in the ocean, but like no stuff like that has gotten down there until now.
Oh,
hooray!
Yay! So they are listed as vulnerable on the IUCN Red List. So.
Okay, cool. So yeah, if you see a walrus, be kind to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Also, probably don't get too close.
Yes, also that.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, they're carnivores like bears.
Well, they won't be eating you. They're actually walruses will forage a lot on the bottom, so they're gonna go for a lot smaller things. So I mean, you would want to kind of keep out because they're very large animals and they might not want you in their space.
Sure.
But they're not gonna see you as a meal.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're just like, why? Like, let me respect the bubble. Respect the walrus bubble, please. Personal boundaries, and you're violating them.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm next, or if I'm like in an area with a 2,000-pound animal, I'm gonna give it lots of space because I don't want to accidentally get rolled on or something. But yeah, so let's see. So I was talking about how they are kind of like opportunistic foragers on the bottom. Last podcast, I kind of talked about how sometimes the beluga will go to the bottom and kind of use a water jet to kind of clear off the debris and find stuff they want to eat. Walruses will do the same thing.
Oh, okay.
And they also have all those cool, by Brice, the whiskers on their face, which can help them find their food on the bottom too. So they're going to be going for things like shrimp, crab, tube worms, things like that. Sea cucumbers, mollusks. Yeah.
I read here that a lot of pinnipeds tend to be polygynous, meaning like they'll mate, like the male will mate with more than one female, and they just have a groovy lifestyle.
Yeah,
that their friends that they talk about at dinner parties way too much.
Yeah, they're not gonna mate for life or anything like that, and oftentimes with pinnipeds, especially, one male will mate with several females. So
is that the case for the walrus too?
Yeah.
Okay. And also I was reading and like just like we usually associate this with birds and stuff. I also read that some of the pinnipeds also have that sort of like in addition to like the secondary sexual characteristics being different, also having that thing where like they look different and you can kind of
sexual dimorphism.
Yeah, because which is something that I didn't realize, because I've gone and looked at like seals and walruses and stuff, and I couldn't tell the difference between if there were boys and girls there.
Yeah, with walruses, it's kind of hard to tell because they both have the tusks. The females are going to be a little bit smaller. As they age too, they do tend to lighten up in coloration, and the males especially, like as they age, tend to get like a weird shade of pink.
Huh.
So like if you go see walruses under human care, like if it's a really like old male, he might be like this weird pink color.
Is that a thinner skin blood flow sort of thing?
It just seems to be the pigmentation changes over
time.
So
interesting.
Yeah, if you see a pink walrus, that's
most likely
unnatural. It's just
just
old boy,
an old dude.
Another crazy thing about walruses, their eyes, they can actually protrude their eyes so that they can see in the front and
I don't like that.
directions, just the way that they're
like a chameleon in the way that its eyes are like twitchy and cycling
That's
around.
So weird. So like they're keeping like, you can't get anything past a walrus.
No.
And can they also like process at the same time, like I am understanding what I'm seeing in front of me and behind me at the same time?
That I am not sure of.
Okay. Let's see. Anything else that we would need to know about the walrus?
No. So that's kind of the walrus in a nutshell. I did mention that they like to hang out in like nutrient-rich waters.
Yeah.
Same with the beluga. Like when they are using those water jets and kind of foraging off the bottom, they're actually helping to mix the nutrients into the water and kind of help the whole ecosystem as a whole.
Oh, gotcha.
As a side effect.
Should we take into account that John Lennon is walrus?
Dumb bit.
Yeah, I don't think it's dumb. I think it's a personal. I'm just trying to get more context on this thing.
Sure.
And also, was it a walrus that was in that Lewis Carroll?
Oh, in Alice in Wonderland or Through the Looking Glass?
Yeah, and
it's Alice in Wonderland.
And I don't know if there was a specific meaning attached to it, other than
Well, the walrus in that is like a scamster.
Yeah, it's like do they tend to be con artists in the wild?
Not to my knowledge.
Everything that we've heard so far makes them seem, relatively all right and not too shisty.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, if anything, it seems like they're looking out for both themselves and the environment, but...
Well, then in that case... Dude, that tooth thing where they can just haul themselves out.
Right.
It's kind of like when you see a dude in an action movie be able to just pull them, like jump up and pull themselves into an air duct, and you're like, nope, that's never gonna happen to me. I get that same feeling. Like I'm very impressed with your
Right.
strength,
Especially when you take their weight into consideration.
Mm.
I'm having a lot of trouble with this guy.
I mean, I might maybe say Ravenclaw, just because they are going to be kind of using their abilities to find their food.
Mhm.
Okay. It's like, would you say that they tend, are they like the smarter of the different kind of pinnipeds, or is that hard to determine?
That's hard to determine. I mean, I wouldn't say that they are or not particularly clever.
Okay.
So.
I feel okay in giving that a Ravenclaw then.
Yeah, for the eye surveillance
Yeah.
technology alone.
That's pretty impressive stuff. All right, so what are we moving on to now?
We are moving on to the California sea lion,
The California sea lion.
which is
Hang
probably
loose, baby.
the most commonly thought of pinniped. Just because, like, if you're in California, you go to the coast, more than likely you're gonna see a sea lion eventually.
Yeah.
Are these the ones that you're going to see like at the Santa Monica Pier or the one in San Francisco?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Like, if you go to like Pier 39 in San
Mhm.
Francisco, yeah, that's sea lions all over the
Where
place.
they're just basking about and yelping.
Yeah.
Like I wish I could be a sea lion. What a nice life. So sea lions are pretty cool. They are considered an eared one of the eared seals. So they do have little external ears, which the walrus does not. I forgot to mention that earlier.
Oh, gotcha.
So like the walrus, though, these guys can rotate their back flippers forward and actually move about on land on all fours,
Right.
like a little sea doggo.
Mhm.
They are also very social animals. When they haul out on beaches or docks or piers or people's boats or wherever they
Mhm.
feel like it, they're always in large groups, and they're like I said, highly social. So they're literally like on top of each other.
Extroverts.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely extroverts of the sea. They're also very vocal. If you've ever been around them, ever, like if you go to the
They're
pier,
just hooting and
yeah,
hollering.
they're always going to be barking and kind of just chattering away, very, very loud. They also, when they're in the water, they'll oftentimes kind of float together in what's called a raft.
Mhm.
So if you're out in a boat or whatnot, you might occasionally just see like a clump of sea lions just chilling together in the water. And you'll also sometimes see one of their flippers will be up. That's actually for thermoregulation. So it looks like, like, oh, look, the little sea lion's waving. But really what they're doing is they're thermoregulating. Their flippers have a lot of blood vessels in them.
Mhm.
So if they're too hot or too cold, they can kind of maintain that by sticking the
see.
flipper out of the water.
Hey,
It's like-
girls. Female California sea lions just became your new feminist icons. Because check this out. I was reading a little bit about the mating habits, and apparently females. This sentence alone just makes them sound so cool. Females are free to move in between territories and are not coerced by males.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, honey, you move. You own yourself. You do whatever you want. I love that. So,
Yeah.
do they kind of like? Do the males and females kind of have like an even hierarchy in terms of power dynamics, or?
They, as far as like their hierarchy goes, like because they're so social, like there's definitely, you'll kind of see them barking and nipping at each other to kind of establish when they're uncomfortable or whatnot. But the males tend to establish like a breeding territory, and then like you were reading, the females can kind of
choose
go where they
whether or
please.
not
So
they
Yeah.
want.
it's the ladies who are doing their sexual walkabouts. That rules.
Yeah, and the females, speaking of them looking different, with the California sea lion, it's probably one of the easiest ways to tell the males from the females. It's just their size alone. So like the females will usually weigh around 220 pounds when they're full grown. The males can get up to like 750 to 800 pounds.
Oh,
Ah.
whoa.
So they're going to be a lot larger. They're also going to develop what's called a sagittal crest. So as they reach sexual maturity, they get this giant bump on their forehead. It looks really silly, but I guess it impresses the ladies. So,
All right.
yeah, if you see a big pile of sea lions, look for the big giant one with the big bump on his head, and that's the boy.
And so sea lions are like crazy intelligent, right?
They are definitely very, very smart.
By our metric of intelligence, anyway.
As far as we can tell, yeah.
They're the ones who are most frequently trained for like shows and things like that.
Yeah, there are other species of sea lions that will be incorporated into shows and facilities. Especially like here, they seem to like be in a lot of our zoos and aquariums here.
Mhm.
Around the world, it might be other species that they house.
Mhm.
But yeah, they are definitely very trainable. They tend to do
Mhm.
very well under human care. As far as quantifying their intelligence, that's kind of a difficult thing to
Mhm.
do, but they definitely seem to respond to training very, very well. And like dogs, they can actually like so when you're training a dolphin, you're usually using a whistle to kind of indicate, good job, you did the behavior correctly.
Gotcha.
Here's I'm about to give you your reward. With sea lions, you can use the whistle, or you can use a clicker, or you can just use a verbal cue. So you have a
Oh,
little more
wow. And,
So they're a little
flexibility
more
with that.
flexible, yeah.
and
Yeah.
what I thought was so amazing and like really like is like, yeah, these are the puppies of the sea. Is I was reading also the Navy trains the seals. There are literal Navy SEALs that are used in operations.
Oh, so they're like going on missions underwater to
Yeah,
like retrieve
these seals
things?
have like these are seals that go on military operation missions. That's how
pretty,
smart they are.
that's
It's not
pretty wild.
Yeah.
What else about the California sea lion is just like rocking?
So one thing that's crazy about them is if you ever, and don't do this up close, but if you ever get a chance to glance at their teeth, if you look at a sea lion's mouth and their teeth are actually black and gross looking, that means that their teeth are really healthy.
Oh.
So whereas, we want our white, shiny, teeth, they actually will form a protective layer of plaque basically to help protect their teeth. So
Whoa.
they look gross and black, but they're really healthy.
All right, so don't judge their teeth. Some of us just had better access to genetics with better teeth.
Okay, so do we feel that this guy's sort of a Hufflepuff? He's
Oh.
communal. He's doofy.
For
He's
sure.
And I feel like I don't feel like they belong in Hufflepuff. I don't know.
You think
I feel
Gryffindor?
like I'm feeling Gryffindor.
I mean, Gryffindor is also very community related, so I can
Gotcha.
agree with you on that. It was between those two.
And like Hermione, she's gonna go her own way. These female sea lions.
Yeah, there we
Definitely
go.
Gryffindor, yeah.
How do we? What's next?
All right. So next we're going to talk about harbor seals.
Harbored seals.
So harbor seals are super cute. They've got these big, just adorable eyes, and they're really, really pretty. They've got spots on their bodies.
Oh, these are the ones that like when you like that look kind of like an anime. if seals were like like an actual cartoon character, because they're just like really big eyes,
see
right?
that. I could see that.
They're very cute.
Yeah, they show up a lot in like if you're like searching the little GIF keyboard,
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of times it's like a harbor seal looking real cute in there.
They're very cute.
They're very cute. I like to think of them as the sausages of the sea. So they are an earless seal, so they're considered a true seal. When they swim, they're gonna be using that kind of like
Whoopity whoop.
wibbity whatever we decided to call it motion.
We started it and then I lost it.
Super cute. When they do haul out on land, though, they're not going to be nearly as graceful as a sea lion. Not that a sea lion's graceful, but they're going to kind of have to more like do a caterpillar crawl.
Oh,
Gotcha.
So their back flippers are just going to
Their
stay
flippers
back.
aren't
They're not
necessarily
going to
good
be
at,
able
like-
to rotate forward.
So they just have to drag themselves up, and it's going to be an
Yeah.
awkward inchworm sort of move.
Yeah, and it's hilarious because if you ever watch them on a beach, like sometimes to get back to the water, they literally just like roll down the hill.
Yeah, I've seen videos of that. And
It's hilarious.
Pretty great.
They're super cute. So while they will haul out with other seals around, they're not nearly as social as a sea lion. They're also not nearly as vocal, I suppose.
Mhm.
They will definitely still make sounds at one another, but it's not that constant kind of barking and chattering.
Right.
And they tend to kind of always have like, this is my personal bubble. Like you remember in elementary school when you had to like put your arms out and that's how far away you had to be from your fellow student.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like that's the harbor seal. They're like, we can be together, but I need my space.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Like if a harbor seal's not necessarily going to get a studio apartment with their boyfriend and be okay with that. Or they're like, no, I just need. Let's get a 2-bedroom. I need my own alone time.
I need my own room.
One thing I was reading that I think is so interesting, and is this all pinnipeds, or is this like more specific to them? That the babies, like almost as soon as they're born, like they're just good to go. Like I was reading, like apparently within hours they can like do full dives and stuff.
It depends on the species, I believe, but usually it's pretty quick before they're able to get in the water.
Yeah, well,
again, just impressive animals being able to just come straight out and be
these,
like, "Hello,
these pups
world."
are growing up fast, way too fast, in my opinion. Apparently, they're weaned after like less than 8 weeks.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. With harbor seals, though, especially with pups, it's really important because they will oftentimes kind of like hang out on shores and places where we might be.
Mhm.
It's really important not to approach harbor seals, especially because there have been instances where people have approached a harbor seal mom with her pup, and she's just abandoned her pup. She's like, "I'm getting out of here."
Oh no!
And so it's very important to give them lots of space because we don't want abandoned pups.
So they're not aggressive, but actually quite like.
I mean, any animal has the ability to be aggressive,
Sure.
but yeah, the harbor seal, like like I said, there's been instances where they've just completely abandoned their pups because humans have approached them.
Right.
So.
In a fight or flight situation, it tends to veer towards
Yeah.
flight.
Is it really just the snap second instinct of like I gotta get away and be safe, or is there like another explanation? Because like I always wonder like why animals do that, like why they don't. Why like when when they've been touched by a human, suddenly they're just like I can't.
It probably depends on a couple of different things. Like I feel like maybe since they're a smaller species of pinniped, they're going to be more of a prey species, so that flight behavior is going to be more.
It's going to be stronger than their maternal instincts.
Possibly.
Gotcha.
Because these guys only get to be about 290 pounds when they're full grown, so they're not going to be super big, and they are going to be. I mean, all of the pinnipeds are preyed upon by like killer whales and white sharks and things, but the smaller ones, of course, are going to have an easier time getting picked off by larger predators.
Speaking of which, like how if they're not picked off, how long can they live for?
So for this species, around 25 to 30 years.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's a good run.
Yeah. I mean, and also I was just thinking these types are what are frequently sought after by sharks, and that's why like people when wearing wetsuits are mistaken, or am I thinking of different?
No, you're correct. So not necessarily harbor seals in particular, but like there are a lot of pinnipeds that are preyed upon by sharks. So like if you're on a surfboard and you've got your flippers and there's a shark underneath you and they look up, you're gonna look a whole lot like a tasty seal or sea lion swimming up at the surface, and so that shark might go after that shape. A lot of times with shark attacks, it's just, I don't even like saying like shark attacks. It's like more of a shark mistake. Like you didn't realize that you weren't food. Like
it's nothing personal.
Yeah. And like plus two, like we're in the shark's house. Like if some guy in a Speedo came into my house, I might be a little off put by it.
I wouldn't go so far as biting them, but
no,
I
wouldn't bite
definitely
them either. But so maybe I should rephrase. If someone came into my house and looked like my favorite food, then I might accidentally bite them. And then I realized
it's one of those situations in the Looney Tunes cartoons where you're like very hungry and the person turns into like the ham or whatever.
Exactly. So most of the time with sharks biting people, it's that one bite and then they're gone.
Gotcha. So if you're gonna go surfing with your flippers, dudes, you gotta really like just stick your head under the water real quick and be like, not a seal.
I mean, also, would it just be a situation where simply wearing brighter colors would prevent that? Or is it just, or do sharks see in black and white, so it doesn't matter? The shape is a shape.
Don't know the color spectrum that sharks can see in, to be honest. So I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
Not a pinniped? Don't care.
I like my mammals, my marine mammals. Sharks are fascinating, though. I do love sharks. I'm not sure of what their ability to see color is. Like a lot of the marine mammals, scientists believe that they have limited color ability, but it's going to be mostly like they're kind of seeing in like blues and greens and like ocean color. So as
that
far
makes
as
sense, it's mostly what's down there.
Yeah. So I mean, it might be like you might wear a brighter color and it might not have an impact, or it might show up differently to their eyes.
Depending on how the spectrum goes, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like I suppose probably it probably is just shape-based, because I would assume if anybody just was like, hey, sharks can see red really distinctly, like everybody would be like, make sure that you make Tron red lines on all your things so like they don't confuse it, because seals don't have that.
Do you think that there are any colors that we see on a regular basis that like animals who live under the ocean like wouldn't like could you imagine if like something just came out of down from outer space and was a new color you'd never seen before?
We probably wouldn't even see it.
Yeah, I mean, like, we can't see ultraviolet and all of those shades.
So mad. I was actually talking to my friend about that yesterday. Like, the fact that insects can see colors that we can't even fathom makes me really mad.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
In the electromagnetic spectrum, like ultraviolet or like X-ray, for example, like
How do we know?
I don't think that there's any animal that can see in X-ray, but like ultraviolet, it's by determining the number of cones and rods that you have. So
and it's about how the light is refracting through those things.
Yeah, so we have 3 cones in our eyes of just like red, green, and blue.
Yeah.
But if you're a dog, for example, dogs only have a blue and a green. So they don't see red at all.
Would a person who suffers from colorblindness like be missing one of those cones, or just have like one of the cones is like damaged?
I think it's more the latter, but I don't know exactly on that. I actually was just.
Are you not an eye doctor? Because I've been under the impression.
I'm so sorry. I'm not an optometrist. There's actually a
I can never. Yeah, that is the actual name. I just say everything. Thing that they do, doctor, tooth doctor, baby doctor.
There's a great radio
Phil
lab.
Doctor.
There's a great radio lab about, and I forget what type of shrimp it is, but it's an episode on like, it's titled Something the Rainbow, and it's about the different color spectrums that animals see. And this one particular type of shrimp they thought has like the highest visual, like it's got like 25 cones or some nonsense like that.
There's one variety of shrimp that knows beauty in a way that we never will.
Well, but they find out that it might not actually be seeing things as they thought they did, because of like, I am going to very badly paraphrase this episode, so listen to Radiolab, because Robert Krulwich and Jad Abumrad are like far better at explaining.
Until I listen, I just know I'm going to be jealous of shrimp. So, with that, where are we sorting this line, do you think?
Harbor seal.
Seal. Why can I not? I just said the word lion, which is a cat that lives in Africa, as far as I know.
I mean, we were talking about California sea lions prior.
Oh, thank you.
There
gosh. I was like, what's...
Look,
honestly,
I'm here to
like,
help you where you're looking to throw me under the bus all the time.
Such drama today.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry you have to be here for this.
Should I go? Do you guys need to work some things out?
No, please. We need an arbitrator here. So, the harbor seal, are there any other little tidbits, or shall we get into sorting?
Oh, they are the most widely distributed of pinnipeds in the northern hemisphere.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of cool.
Also, your mainstream pinniped.
Right?
Stop. They're in the ocean.
And so males actually do this weird thing trying to attract females. They'll actually gather together and they'll roll upside down and they'll put their heads together and they'll make sounds to attract females, because that's apparently what harbor seal ladies like.
So they form like a Busby Berkeley sunflower thing.
Yeah, like
flip over,
ladies,
and then just are like, arr, 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 arr.
And the women are like, oh my gosh, I'm just dating. I hate dating.
And then there's the one who's like, yo, they're into it.
Do you imagine if these animals had dating apps, like all the photos would be just like all group photos, which I hate on dating apps when you can't tell which one is the person.
Oh, the worst is when it's all of them are group photos and the same friend is in several ones. So you're like, which one of you is Julianne?
And
which
they're
one
obviously the most attractive person in all of the photos, so of course you want it to be them.
Well, the worst is when it's like group photo, and you're like, oh man, I hope it's that one. I hope it's that one. I hope it's that. And then it's a single one at the end. You're like, oh, it wasn't that one.
It wasn't.
I think sometimes I'm not gonna overgeneralize because
I
haven't dated.
Overgeneralize.
I just haven't I haven't dated as many women because I tend to date like mask people. But like I just don't see it happen with women as often, that it feels almost like a strategic move to have like, I'm gonna have an attractive dude with me, so you associate me with attractiveness, even if I'm not as attractive as that person.
Well,
even unconsciously, it just feels like a weird like move.
There was a study that was done that revealed that group photos make you find the other person more attractive.
Okay.
That would make sense because, like, oh, you've got a lot of friends, you do cool things, like
Right, but I mean, from a dating app perspective, it's also confusing. Like, include 1 or 2 group shots as like your 3rd or 4th photo after I'm like, oh, I understand who you are roughly. And
I
then,
mean, if we're gonna get into people not making good choices with dating app photos, this will become a completely different podcast because there's a lot.
yeah, we'll have to have some folks on to sort dating apps.
Get your
God.
crap
just-
together, dating app people, because I don't want to die alone. So do we sort this one?
No, we haven't sorted the harbor seal. I feel that it's a Gryffindor, but
What was that?
oh, I immediately am getting the indication that Jessy disagrees
The
with
science.
me, and I think I know where it's headed, but please.
I feel like these guys are Hufflepuffs.
Oh, that's not what I thought you were going to say.
Just just kind of watching them interact with each other. They're just kind of like they mind their own business, but like they still are around one another, and they just kind of seem to be like lighthearted and pleasant, and just kind of.
I was thinking of a lot of the attributes of them to lean towards Gryffindor on like the needing personal space as like as a more aggressive and dominant thing, but in taking that and like the flight response, that actually is more like, hey, I need to be like more comfortable for myself.
And then on the lighter side of things, like that mating ritual that they do where they all just flop on their bellies and like, we're having a good time. It kind of reminds me like the 40s and 50s when teen boys would cram themselves into a telephone booth to impress girls. Where it's like, I guess that's impressive.
Sorry, what is
just
this?
I'm not familiar with this.
You don't like, there was a time where people this was like, you think that we have like weird stupid memes that go viral like the Harlem Shake. Now this has just been our thing forever, like in the 10s through the 50s, like cramming yourself as many people into a small space was just like a thing that you did for fun. You would try to see like, oh, we can do more people in this convertible car than the other high school, or I'll go up on the top of a flagpole.
We need to bring this back. Just imagine, if you will, a bunch of former Vine stars deciding that they're going to fill an elevator with themselves.
Oh, please don't do that. Okay, Vine stars. I'm gonna explain to you because you managed to take everything literally as an opportunity. I actually saw somebody on YouTube eat a Tide Pod. So I'm gonna let you know. Don't go into an elevator and go over the weight, Max, because you will plummet to your death. That's just a fun little tip from me to you.
I like that you started to say fun fact and then had to course correct. Don't think I didn't hear it.
I like to have fun.
It's a fun fact. Don't go over the weight limit in an elevator.
Another one of Reed's fun facts.
Pro tip.
Watch what kind of fats that you get in your diet, or you might contract heart disease. All right, back to you, Jess.
All right.
I'll concede that it's a Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah. All right. So the last one I wanted to talk about was the elephant seal.
Oh boy.
So there are 2 species of elephant seals.
Okay.
I'm mostly going to talk about the northern one because that's the one that we have over here on the coast of California.
Okay.
So the northern elephant seal is the 2nd largest pinniped in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought the walrus was large. But the males of the northern elephant seal can get up to about 14 feet long and weigh about 5,000 pounds.
That
I can't imagine trying to move that much weight.
I'd also like that you said, like, oh my gosh. Okay, so it's 14 feet long, which already is like the length of the bedroom which we are recording in at this moment.
Like, yeah,
You
you
just
could,
imagine an animal
Right.
that's 5,000 pounds in
and
your
it would
room.
be snug.
Yeah.
It'd be a snug fit.
Yes, exactly. That's terrifying. Also, just a quick clarification question. When you say northern, are we talking northern hemisphere?
Yes. So
Okay.
the northern, so it's the two species are the northern elephant seal and the southern elephant seal.
Mhm.
So the northern one is found in the northern hemisphere, and the
I
southern in the.
wasn't sure if it was just like, oh, it's all both are in the northern hemisphere, but one happens to be,
And most
No, that's a
farther
good
north.
question. Yeah.
are there any pinnipeds that aren't trying to stay in the colder waters, or is that like typify like their environments usually?
Usually they're going to be found more in the colder
Okay.
waters. I mean, like it doesn't have to be like super cold. Like it could be like 65 degrees.
Yeah. But they're not like taking a tropical vacation.
Yeah, you're not going to go to like Key West and find.
Do
seal there.
pinnipeds have migration patterns?
It depends on the species. They'll migrate for like breeding and for food,
Mhm.
but they're not going to be as extensive or as impressive as like the whale migration patterns and things like that.
Sure.
Gotcha.
Okay. Back on track with elephant seals. Sorry
Yeah.
to derail for a
that's
moment.
totally fine. So we, like I said, they're giant. They do. The females are significantly smaller than the males. But that being said, they're still massive. So they're going to be about 11 feet long and about 1,400 pounds when they're full grown.
All right.
So, yeah.
That's a substantially lower weight,
Yeah, still nice and
but still pretty,
sizable.
Yeah.
So the pups too are just huge. Like newborn pups going to be 85 pounds ish.
Mhm.
So the size of a big dog.
Yeah. That's a good way to. They're
It's like
adorable.
when they're born, they're more than I would be able to handle.
Yes.
I love the idea of a newborn. Like we're always talking about how I'm a beta, right? Or at least I am. I'm just open about myself. I love the idea that something could literally enter the world and have a higher, like in the grand scheme of things, higher power dynamic than me.
Well, just the fact, like, imagine a Labrador being born at full size. That's like, and a Labrador, I think, is like closer to 70 pounds, maybe 70.
Around there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think you've ever seen me interact with even mid-sized dogs. Listeners, if you don't know the scale of me, I am like 5'3" and a $120 soaking wet. So
I like that as a form of measurement for you. I'll need to remember that. So what else about elephant seals outside of their size?
So
and
they're
weight?
really, so the elephant part, comes because they're
Massive.
giant, but they also the males, when they hit sexual maturity around 5 to 6 years old, they have this proboscis shape thing that forms on their face.
Oh yeah, they have that weird,
weird nose thing going on.
They get like a fancy snoot going on.
Yeah, so not necessarily the most attractive thing to me, but they use it, especially during mating season, to make very loud sounds to attract the ladies. These guys, the males, will establish a breeding territory and a harem and will fight off the other males, to the point where some males won't breed ever. Like a lot of times the less dominant males will kind of like hang out on the outskirts and try to get in where they can, but the big guys
And
gonna try.
they find each other online, start talking about these Chad elephant seals and the Stacys, and
Well,
they're incels.
with elephant seals, are these particularly aggressive? Do they fight one another?
They do.
They
Mhm.
do. Okay. If I recall, I remember seeing like a National Geographic from ages ago with like a very, very bloodied elephant seal.
Yeah, they'll fight. They'll establish their territories, fight for dominance, fight for mates.
For the ones that like, because I also was learning that it's really interesting. Whereas like with other ones, they might go from like territory to territory and have different mates. I heard that like there's also like a weird like form of like faithfulness where like there's like a season and like the same harems like get together every year. Is that correct?
That I'm not sure about with these guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not.
Because I always want. I'm
not
always so
sure either
interested
way
like
on that.
when animals like are pair bonded, or in this case like polygyny bonded or something.
Mhm.
I just always am like interested in like how much they understand that, and like how much of it's like affection based and how much of it's just like that's what we do.
Yeah, it's probably I'd imagine for these guys, it's kind of like, oh, that time of year again. I'm gonna go haul out on this beach with this dude.
And then like other alpha male animal groups, because you were talking about like sometimes the male ones don't ever get a chance to get their own harem. Do they ever form up all bachelor like groups to hang out together like some
Not
other?
that I know of. They just like, kind of hang out and do their thing. So this is just like during the breeding season where we'll kind of establish these groups.
Okay.
With the harems, they can be pretty large too. So like they can be anywhere from like 30 ladies to like 100 ladies.
Whoa.
And then
how do you keep track of all their birthdays?
You don't. But the male can actually impregnate up to 50 females like successfully a season usually. Like if they're like a really successful male. And I was reading that over their lifetime, one single male can have like 500 pups.
I don't think I'd like to date an elephant seal. I don't feel like you're getting quality time when you're dating an elephant seal.
I always thought that you were somebody who would want to date an elephant seal, Reed.
I try to keep an open mind. The more I hear about it, not for me.
Oh,
Most animals, all animals, except for humans, so far.
It's really narrow-minded of you. Like I'm a little disappointed.
Listen, the gay community has very specific physical types, and one of them has to be that you have to be Homo sapien, and the other one is you have to go to the gym and have a very masked, straight-passing body. But like the seal, you have to also be hairless. All right.
Actually, seals and sea lions have hair on their body. The walrus is the only one that isn't covered in hair.
Oh,
I had to say
gotcha.
that earlier. They have sparse hairs on their bodies, but they're not covered in hair.
Gotcha.
So the elephant seal is hairy, but not like hairy.
It's sleek hair. So like, it's very hydrodynamic. It's not gonna be like getting in their way when they're swimming or things like that.
Oh, speaking of hair, can you go into a little bit, because I know this is one of the animals and pinnipeds. Can you tell us about molting? Because I didn't realize that this was something that mammals even did.
Oh yeah, so they'll molt. They look kind of weird when they molt because
that's when molting is when your hair and or skin is shed off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for these guys, they'll molt their fur, and it depends, like the time of year depends on the species and when their breeding seasons are and things like that. But a lot of times, you'll see them kind of keeping out of the water because their fur is not fully ready for
so it's like
being
patchy.
submerged. Yeah, so they look kind of like weird and patchy.
So is it just like when your cat loses a lot more hair towards summer because they?
Yeah, a little more pronounced, I suppose.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's basically
and
like
far more gross looking.
Yeah.
Oh, I just remembered. Yeah, my cat never sheds its entire skin like a Lovecraftian creature. Don't worry, guys. I did not accidentally adopt an old god.
Yeah, it's basically like shedding on a larger scale. They'll kind of like just molt their.
Gotcha. Anything else we would want to know about this elephant seal?
So we mostly spoke about the northern elephant seal. I'll just real quick mention the southern elephant seal just because their size is so incredibly impressive. So
they're bigger then.
They are bigger than these guys. So when these guys are full grown, the males are 5 to 6 times larger than the females. So the females of the southern elephant seal will be about 800 to 2,000 pounds. The males, when they're full grown, will be 20 feet long and weigh over 8,000 pounds.
That's too much. That's simply too much.
I really want to go be in a room with you when you see like a blue whale or something.
I mean, like, here's the thing. In my, like, the metric and like knowledge base for what a blue whale is like already set. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is huge. I was expecting this to be huge.
But was it you were like, yeah, what can a seal? How big can a seal get?
I've seen video of elephant seals before, but I've not seen an elephant like
because you don't have a sense of scale.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, oh, there are like mountains around it, and like I don't know how actually like I always thought that elephant seals were big, but not that.
So
big.
National Geographic and other scientists, you need to use the internet's most universal scale measurement. Put a banana next to one of those elephant seals next time. Thank you.
An elephant seal and a banana.
Yeah.
See, but even then, bananas are a rough form of measurement because bananas can vary in size.
Do you want to know like down to the centimeter how big they are?
No, but I'm not asking for elephant seals to be measured in terms of bananas. That would be it's like, smoots across the whatever bridge it is in Massachusetts.
But to be fair, is the banana metric any sillier than any of the other imperial measurements we have?
Well, when you simply go a foot, I know by default how long a foot is.
Oh yeah,
I
how long's my foot?
Not
really
your
hope-
foot, the king's foot.
I really hope that someone hears this, and if they do this, please like tweet me. But like, just calculate the average banana and then find out for me
Oh yeah.
how many bananas
Yeah.
would make up an elephant seal.
Yes.
A southern elephant seal.
Right. But we also need to know not just how many bananas in terms of length, but also in terms of weight.
Oh, that's what I was thinking.
It's like one of those. It's one of those strange, like kind of.
You know-
the banana measuring system is very complex.
Right.
Well, like,
Like,
if you had
I'm-
like a elephant seal shaped void, how many bananas could you drop
Right.
in there?
Exactly.
I think I'm like 9 or 10 bananas tall and probably, I don't know, like I'm probably way more than 50 bananas in weight.
I know whatever the amount of bananas I am, elephant seal could put them away no problem in like 2 minutes if they ate bananas. I doubt they've ever had one.
I don't think they would care for them.
Do they? These big boys are so big. Do they have anybody who like tries to do killer whales go after these dudes too?
Yeah, killer whales and white sharks too are going to be their main predators, but not nearly as often as like a harbor seal or a sea lion.
Okay, so so like because
They
just
need
by
to,
size, they're like people
these-
tend to
these
mess with them
creatures
less.
need to be very hungry, and the elephant seal has to be the only thing around for them to be like, all right, I'm going in on this, big boy.
Gosh, can you imagine? You're like you get stranded in the Arctic or something, and you are about to run out of food, and you see an elephant seal. Do you try to hunt it like a caveman?
Turn to page 12 for yes. Turn to page 14 for no
I'm
way.
asking you, are you which page you turn into?
Okay, so in this situation,
This is like a melee thing.
in this situation, I'm still a human.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Well, initially I was like, I thought we were translating it as
Yeah,
like
I thought we
you're-
were whales or something.
Yeah, I thought that as well.
Or well, I guess they're dolphins. Killer whales.
neither of you are whales. You're humans.
All right.
Okay. Well,
So we're humans, and we're stranded up like in Alaska, where there's some
Yeah.
elephant seals.
you're assuming in this situation, because if we're going into the hypotheticals, I need to know the minutia of this. Do we have the means to cook this elephant seal?
Hell yeah.
Okay. I'm now more inclined already.
Yeah, we got fire.
Yeah, but like if there's no mean to cook it, I'm like, okay, I can eat a bunch of raw red meat and I run the risk of who knows what happening to me.
Parasite.
But you're gonna die for sure if you don't try to eat it.
See, but like you can survive for X amount of days based on just water alone.
We got
So-
plenty of snow. I'm
exactly.
thinking.
So neither of you are gonna try to hunt the.
I mean,
elephant seal.
I think just based on like my notable marksmanship, which is non-existent, and tactical advantages, which are none.
What are our what weapons do we have?
You might have a spear or something, but for the most part,
Yeah,
you gotta.
no way. No way. That is a suicide mission. Are you kidding
Because
me?
I was thinking about the other day, because I didn't know this. Apparently, mammoths aren't they didn't go extinct as far back as I knew, and we actually did hunt them. Would you feel like you would be able to do it
Oh, also, again, no way.
when you have no other options? Because I don't want to kill a mammoth. They're
the
cute.
only way that I could see myself being able to take down a mammoth is if I were able to Empire Strikes Back it like an AT-AT walker and like wrap its legs and manage to trip it, at which point I probably wouldn't then try to stab it, but just be like, all right, we're gonna wait this thing out. Like it's gonna slowly expire of its own, like, because I just the act of stabbing a thing is gonna be
Yeah, because
crazy.
it was really interesting to learn like that was like one of the reasons that like humans became more communal like animals was because like it was really hard to take down larger things that could feed more people.
Oh yeah. I
Ugh.
mean, from a community standpoint, there's both defensive and offensive benefits of like, if there are more of you in a group, you can herd off anything from whatever you're trying to protect. And similarly, you can gang up on whatever you're trying to consume.
how does the elephant seal like how do they hunt? Is it sort of like any other animal there where there's like wait for the moment doing and it just happens really suddenly, or are they more like meticulous, like, you know, a lion or something where they're just like going through and finding it?
They're gonna be kind of more just opportunistic feeders. Like if they see the opportunity to go after like fish or squid, they're just gonna take that moment to.
Okay, so like when you're opportunistic, like you just eat as much as possible, as quickly as possible,
because you never know when your next meal is gonna come.
Gotcha.
Like if humans were opportunistic, we would all be bloated because there's just food everywhere, theoretically, assuming that we could.
I mean, am I not? My favorite restaurant is buffets.
Your favorite restaurant is indeed buffets, but you're also fairly thin.
That's fair. Let's see. Anything else that we need to know about the elephant?
I mean, I have a pretty solid stance that it's a Gryffindor, but I feel that it's largely aggressive in nature. That would probably put it more as a Gryffindor. There's nothing about it that necessarily screams Slytherin to me.
I was between Gryffindor and Slytherin, so I could go either way.
Okay.
I mean, if there's something that you are thinking, Jessy, that it's like, this is why I'm thinking Slytherin, like you're the expert, so I'll defer to you.
I mean, it was just kind of like one of those like more general like feel things. I don't have like a particular thing to bounce me between either one.
Like a Gryffindor.
I mean, the harem angle, I'm not sure if it leans us one way or the other.
Probably a little more Slytherin than Gryffindor.
Well,
I feel like because we're all like about our morals and stuff.
To make myself sound really cool, it kind of reminds me of like those like harem animes where the dude is still very much like a good guy, but for whatever reason he has 8 girlfriends or like 8 different women who all want him.
It's just the situation.
Yeah. Oh boy. I can't. This is too much for me. Why is that always the personality of the dude?
I think they also are like, this is awesome, but like just imagine in your simple situation where every day you have to interact and like with 8 of your closest friends, like which sounds fine in a group setting, but if you're then looking for personal one-on-one time and you're also balancing like all of that, like I barely see either of you outside of the circumstances of the podcast. Like
no, I meant more like. And I also see it in books like Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey, where the protagonist is such a little dork and like sometimes mean. And I'm always more like, do they just make them like really like bland so that the reader or the viewer can just more easily like project their own face onto it?
Usually that is the like angle there.
But not an elephant seal.
No. Not at all.
They just grow big old, like Groucho Marx nose instead.
Yes. Are you feeling Gryffindor or Slytherin, Reed? Because we've sort of weighed in ourselves.
Yeah, you get to break it.
Oh, I'm gonna defer to y'all if you say it's a Gryffindor.
All right,
Let's go with Gryffindor.
Then it's a Gryffindor, and with that, Jessy, I'd like to thank you again for coming on the pod.
Thanks for having me again.
Where can we find you? Oh, that's right, it's at the Jessy Monster on both Twitter and Instagram.
Find me, please.
Yeah, and if you want to reach us, you can reach Michael at Belated Media, me at That Ding Dingus, or sortinghat_pod.
Yep.
I finally said our own podcast correctly.
Yes, you did. You said our podcast Twitter handle.
How many episodes are we on now?
It's like 70 or 80.
Cool.
No big deal.
So with that, thank you all so much for joining us, and you'll hear from us in another episode. Bye.
Bye.